that I would not. I feel
Santa Clarita
good.
Suntown Station AM 1220 KHTS, the Prima Pediatrics Healthcare Hour. And this is Dr. Feldman is your host.
I got you.
PrimaPediatrics.net for more information on Prima Pediatrics. They care for your infants, children, adolescents, teens, and young adults. More information, again, PrimaPediatrics.net or 424-9000. And is there more you wanted to talk about? I know this is a kind of a heavy situation.
Well, let's put it this way. I wanted to make sure that the public understands that the information that's being put out about this child at Oakland Children's was not correct. But I think that's enough morbidity for the day.
A little bit, yeah.
Let's go something a little less morbid. And it's funny that, when we go on to this next topic, when you said infants, children, adolescents, and young adults, it occurred to me, I was thinking about this because I was speaking to my daughter last night, who is also a pediatrician in Israel. And it's interesting that, in Israel, the pediatricians see people until age 30.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because people under 30 are more likely to have children's diseases than they are to have the diseases of adults.
Well, I know my wife says that when we have Calvin and Eleanor, my children, and
right.
I know when she introduces or she says how many kids you have, she says 3. I'm 27, so
right.
It's like kind of like
she's right.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is that you don't really see adult disease until you're 30 or beyond most of the time. Sometimes earlier, but
beforehand.
Most of the time not. But it also involves young parents and eating habits, etc. So
yeah. And actually, that's exactly what I want to talk about. I know when I came in today, I prepped a little bit, and I wanted to talk about the holidays are just about over. They're over, right?
They're over.
Holidays are over, right?
They're way over. So except that I have to have one more celebration tomorrow, but it's over.
Okay. So for most of us, the parties are pretty much over, and there's those moments where you're at a party or family's coming to visit, and your kids are just eating whatever they want, and you're at a party. All right, here, just eat this. Stop yelling at or your grandma comes to visit, and the kid eats junk food the whole time. And so I wanted to ask you maybe get some tips for the picky eaters, like the shift, especially now that the holiday's over, back to not being a picky eater.
Well, the issue is if you're a picky eater only eating junk food and won't eat regular food, or is the picky eater just they will only eat something that's white?
Gotcha. So I have several different scenarios here.
Okay.
I got a couple of different problems, and I'm hoping you have solutions. Odds are good that you will.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, so the first problem is a one food wonder. Okay, so your child is only eating some foods, maybe very little food, and the question is it just a phase? How long will it last? And do we give in, or do we hold our ground and say eat your broccoli?
Well, the answer is variable. First of all, in a young child, especially the 2-year-olds, you have to remember that 2-year-olds eat nothing. They don't eat anything.
Okay.
Nobody has ever seen a 2-year-old eat much of anything, and yet they grow. Don't know how that happens, but they do. 2-year-olds, if you give them more than 2 choices, that's it. They shut down.
Forget about it.
So it is a phase in that respect if the child is 2. And that all the way up through there will be phases where they don't want to eat this or that or the other thing. But the toddler age is the classic age where they refuse food. And the answer to that is that, the one food, it depends on what one food. For example, my younger brother, when he was that age, would only eat cottage cheese and soft-boiled eggs.
Weird.
That's all he wanted to eat. That's all he would eat. So that's what he did eat.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Because it's healthy.
Yeah.
So it was fine.
Yeah.
And he finally got tired of that after about a year, and then he went on to eat other things, and it was fine. When I was in elementary school, 1st grade, 2nd grade, and 3rd grade, I never had anything but one lunch. That was always a peanut butter and jelly sandwich with 2 cartons of milk. Never changed, never varied. That was what I ate, and I was just fine.
Okay.
Because it's relatively healthy food.
Yeah.
Now, if the only food your child's going to eat is Hershey's chocolate bars, then we have an issue.
Probably an issue. Okay.
Yeah. So it depends. If what your child wants to have is a relatively healthy food and near to complete, then to heck with it. Don't argue. Just let them have it. But you have to put the food, the first thing you have to do is when a child is beginning to eat, they're beginning to eat adult foods, usually between 9 months and 2 years, you have to give them a new food at least 10 times in a row before they'll actually begin to like it.
Good grief. Yeah.
They will reject it every single time, but if you persist and give it to them every single time, at the end, they will eat it.
They will eat it. Okay.
And so you have to be persistent. You can't just say, oh, I don't like that. Okay, sweetie, I'll give you something else. No. This is not a short order restaurant. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right, so it varies. Okay, so this next problem is I feel like a battle that will be fought for centuries and has been fought for centuries. But my children will not eat his or her veggies. And even though he's never tried it, he or she's never tried it, I don't like it. So how do we deal with making sure that they get their veggies?
Well, there's several approaches. Number one, almost invariably, if the child won't eat their vegetables, it's because their parents aren't eating their vegetables either.
Oh, okay.
Almost invariably, you will find that. So the first thing you have to do is you have to have proper eating habits yourself.
Okay.
Okay? So if you want your kid to eat their vegetables, then you dang well better be eating your vegetables too. And you better be making them nice and palatable. That means you don't just serve plain steamed broccoli with nothing on it, folks.
Yeah.
And you don't just serve plain stuff. You dress it up. You make it interesting. First of all, you make it colorful. A colorful plate is good for two reasons. Number one, because it makes it interesting and it sparks the interest of a child. Number two, because biologically we are all supposed to be, there is a tendency to get variety of color in our foods. There is a biological imperative to do that because, number three, the more colorful the plate of vegetables, the better it is for you because each different color provides you with a different nutrient. And the more antioxidants there are in the more colorful vegetables. So you don't want a whole plate of green. You want green and yellow and red and purple.
Oh.
And if it means that you're going to buy purple cauliflower instead of white cauliflower, then you buy purple cauliflower.
Okay.
Or if you want to be cheap about it, take food coloring.
There you go. That's a good idea. All right.
I've been known to buy the little heads of cauliflower, and with food coloring, I made faces on it. The kids loved it.
All right.
So that's the thing. You've got to make it interesting and fun for the kids to eat.
Cool.
Number two, don't forget that your child is not your size. So even though they do need calories to grow, think about this. Most kids will take an average of 24 ounces of milk or milk substitute per day. That means that they are getting 500 calories, thereabouts, of milk per day. Well, if they're 2 or 3 or 4, they don't need a whole lot more than that. They need another 600 or 700 calories. That's not a lot of calories.
Gotcha.
That's not a lot of food.
Yeah.
So if they take 2 or 3 bites, that's fine.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. We got more. I got more problems, and I need your solutions. So we're going to talk about that. Prima Pediatrics Healthcare Hour. Dr. Feldman on AM 1220 KHTS.